In this video, we're going to show you how to install the AC condenser on your Jeep Grand Cherokee, located right behind your front grille. Before tackling this job, you want to go ahead and have the vehicle brought down to a shop and have the AC system professionally evacuated of all the Freon. You want to go ahead and disconnect a battery, starting with the negative terminal. Now, across the top of our grille, there's going to be 4 7mm screws. Ours is missing 2 of them. Across the bottom of the grille, there should be 3 more screws, 1 here, 1 over here, and then 1 on the end. Ours are missing. Remove your grille, set that aside. On top of your headlight, you're going to locate this bolt right here. Using a 7mm, we're going to go ahead, loosen, and remove this. Now, this is a bolt, but it's also a locating pin. And then remove that, pull it out. Now we're going to grab our headlamp. We want to remove it from the vehicle. Now there's 3 sockets that hold this in place. It's a ball and socket design. We're going to grab the headlamp assembly, pull it straight forward. Pull this out. And here are the ball studs on the back side. We pop it out of the clips. Now I want to go ahead and remove our lights from the assembly. So we can go ahead and set our lights aside. We're just going to twist our light bulbs counterclockwise. There's a total of 5 of them here. I'm going to repeat for the passenger side. I'm going to remove our hood latch unit right here. Now there are 2 13mm nuts. There's one here on the right side and then just over on the left-hand side. Now I'm going to use a yellow crayon. I'm going to mark the general area here so I have hopefully a mark that I can make sure that this goes back in on the same exact spot. I'm going to use my 13mm gear wrench because we can't get a socket through here due to the header panel. So you want to use a wrench on the inside here. On the top of this cross member here, you're going to find a T30 Torx bit securing the header panel to the upper cross member. There's going to be a total of 4 of these. Go ahead, loosen and remove all 4. Now our cross member here is bolted in. It's going to have 4 10mm bolts going in to secure it. We want to go ahead and remove this. Before we do it, take that crayon. We want to go ahead and mark the position of this here. I'm going to do this on both sides. Go ahead and loosen the 10mm. Repeat for the other side. Let's go ahead and work our cross brace off here. On the very center here, where the hood latch goes, there are 2 rods. I want to make sure that those are disconnected there as well. Now, if the hood seal pops off like ours did, it just presses back on. Go ahead and set this aside. Now, on our particular vehicle here, There has been an aftermarket cooler installed. Your vehicle will probably not have this here. You want to go ahead and focus over here where there's a 10mm bolt securing the AC condenser. I'm going to use our extension and our socket, loosen and remove that bolt. On the passenger side, upper portion of the AC condenser, there's a 10mm bolt. Loosen and remove this. I want to loosen and remove this 8mm bolt securing this cooler to our AC condensing unit. On the passenger side of our AC condenser, we have our two lines that go into the AC condenser or connect to it. Now there are two 13mm nuts. We want to go ahead, loosen and remove those. We can use our 1/4" socket and ratchet. Get on in there. I'm going to break these both free. What we're trying to prevent is us from getting our ratchet stuck up against something where we can't get it out. So just continue to do this until you can get both of those nuts removed. We're able to switch over to our gear wrench, which allows for plenty of room. And we're going to be reusing these two nuts here, so be sure not to lose them. Now, even though we had our AC system professionally evacuated before tackling this job, you may experience a little bit of pressure from these lines here. We're just going to use a flathead screwdriver here and gently just work this out. We're hearing a slight little hiss coming from it, but it's brief. We'll go ahead and do the same to the bottom here. Here we go. Just going to work these two lines back. Be careful not to damage these O-ring seals here, as those will be reused. Now what we want to do is focus on the replacement part here. The top is where the bolt is going to go through to secure it. Now the bottom, even though it has a bolt hole in it, this actually just drops down into a little notch or a channel down below to stop it, secure it into place. So when we pull this up and out, we're going to be dislodging the bottom tabs on both the driver and passenger side. And then when we install it, we're going to lower this down and drop these tabs back down into those little channels. We want to go ahead and pull our cooler up and out a little bit. Now we're going to go ahead and kind of move this out. Make sure we have enough room here. I'm going to grab our AC condenser, give it a little wiggle, and start to pull this up and out. On the side of our AC condenser where the ports are going to go into, there's two threaded holes here. We have two threaded studs. We're going to put a little bit of blue Loctite on these here and thread these in. Thread them in as far as you can by hand. And right in the center section here, we're just going to use our pliers to go ahead and run those down the rest of the way. Now they don't have to be super tight, you just want to get them bottomed out in there. Go ahead and snug those down into place. Now we can go ahead and install our AC condenser. Let's go ahead and lower our AC condenser down into place. Now at this point here, you need to focus on dropping those tabs down onto or into that channel. Okay, driver's side is in. And we have our AC lines here that have the rubber O-rings on there. You definitely want to go ahead and inspect those there. Make sure that they're in good condition. If they're not, you do not want to continue to this step here. You want to replace those seals first. Line that up. Now the main thing you need to pay attention to is making sure that these units go in absolutely flush. Make sure that those seals are seated and that these aluminum flanges are seated flush up against the AC condenser. I'll go ahead and get these nuts started here. And I like to thread them on as far as I can by hand. And once you feel it bottom out, you want to go just a little bit more. You want to make sure that it's good and snug, but you don't have to over tighten it. Now we want to put our bolt in here for our cooler. You can use a small screwdriver to go ahead and line up the clip, the AC condenser, and the cooler. Put your bolt on your socket and extension and go ahead and get that started. Once that's caught a few threads, go ahead and hook up your ratchet and snug it down. There you go. Once that bottoms out, you're all set. Install our upper bolt here. Install the driver's side bolt. Let's install our cross member here. Now when installing our hood latch assembly, you want to pay attention to any marks that we have done. We had a little bit of yellow crayon left on here, but you can clearly see when I move this, there is a little circle where our washer was positioned before. It's going to be the same on both left and right hand side. So let's go ahead and snug these down. And all we're going to do is line up the original washer mark. I'm just going to snug that gently so I can still go ahead and line up the other side here as well. And with both of them in position, go ahead and lock those down. Once those are bottomed out, give it a little bit more. We do want to make sure that those are good and snug. Now let's go ahead and line up our crossmember support here. We have our crayon mark. I want to line that up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get the two bolts started on this side here. We're gonna get the 2 bolts started on the passenger side as well. Make sure we can get those holes lined up. Then we're gonna come back to this side here, do our final alignment with the crayon, and we'll snug those down. Now our crayon marker is just a little bit off here. I'm gonna grab that support, give it a little tug, and then tighten this down. Let's line up our header panel here. I'm going to start our screws. We have 4 of these here. I'm just going to start them all by hand first, and then we'll come back and snug them down. Now when we tighten these down, you have to be very careful not to over tighten it and crack the plastic. So basically what we want to do is just make sure that when those bottom out, we just have them snug. Repeat that process all the way across. Good, install your lights. You're going to place the bulbs in. Turn them clockwise to lock them into place. And when you're doing this here, make sure that you line up the tabs correctly with the back side of the light. They are different sizes, so they're only going to go in one way and lock in. Now that we have all the bulbs in, you want to go ahead and line up the ball studs with the plastic sockets on the header panel. And then gently, with 2 hands, push straight back. Install the alignment pin. Now when tightening this down, once that screw bottoms out on the plastic, you just want to go a little bit more. You don't want to over tighten it because you can crack the plastic mounting tab on the headlamp. That'll render that useless. So just snug that down. Go ahead and repeat for the other side. Now we're going to install our grill. I'm going to line this up. Pop this into place. Now we went ahead and sourced the correct amount of screws to install our grill. Our original one was missing screws because the header panel was broken. So we're installing 4 screws across the top. Now we're snugging these down just enough to the point where the bottom of the grill is pulled in all the way. The bumper bracket on the back side, the plastic, does not have to go flush all the way to the back to the header panel itself. There's a little bit of a gap there. The grill is snug in place. Make sure it's like that all around. But if you continue to tighten this, you can risk breaking the header panel mount or cracking the grill. Once those screws bottom out, just give it a little bit more. They don't have to be super tight. You're just securing plastic into plastic. Go ahead and install your battery terminals. Once you have this assembled here, you want to go ahead and bring the vehicle down to your local repair shop and have the AC system recharged. At that point there, you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. the only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.